Okay, here we go. Welcome everyone to another Wednesday night, the fundamentals to gain inner peace with your host, Menachem Bernfeld. And tonight is number 44, which is really amazing. And I think it's time to reflect, see where we are in the past 43 weeks or so, where we started, where we are, and any questions that come up. And I want to thank you all for sending any questions. And if you have any question now, you can put it in the chat. You can ask live. If you want, raise your hand and just unmute, and we can get to talk. And again, I don't have all the answers. And I am on this journey just like everybody else, learning, getting to learn new things every day, things about myself, about the world around me, the people I talk to. And yes, I do pick up a lot. And like I mentioned, sometimes I could see things in one way. And by listening to somebody else, it's interesting because they see it totally different. And for me to be there for them, I have to put myself on the side and listen to their story, listen to what they're saying, and how they can come up with solutions, how they can come up with ideas that could help them. Because the idea that I have works for me. So it's important to know that, and that's important for everybody in life. Any relationship you have, whether it's a spouse, kids, in school, teachers, always important to remember that it's not always the way we see it. And to be able to be there for them, we have to be able to put ourselves in their shoe and say, it's interesting, tell me more. So you get to learn about how they feel. So if we'll be able to answer some questions, but again, it's more like a discussion. So you can ask whatever comes up. Anything is welcome, and we'll discuss it. So we started this journey understanding the brain waves. That's how we started the beta alpha states, to understand that many people are in fight and flight mode. Very busy, sometimes, many times productive, but for some reason they can't just take it easy. Many people have the problem of people pleasing. They're not okay with themselves. And to be aware of it, to learn how to take a few minutes, step back, and learn how to sit in that space we discussed, that in between stimulus and response, there's a space which is very uncomfortable many times. So we want to go to the response right away. We want to take care of problems, because sitting in the space, many different things come up. And the main word that we're looking for is the emotions. What comes up over there is emotions. And for many people, they haven't been in touch with emotions for a while. And we've discussed the reason why. Sometimes it's easier just to go on and not feel those ups and downs. Just do what you need to do. And that's it. And everybody with their own story. So it's important to become aware. You take some time, you slow down, and you let things come up, the emotions, because the emotions is part of feeling alive. We want to be in touch with our emotions. And then once we learn the way we think about ourselves, the thoughts that come up, the feelings, and the actions that we take based on that. So that's basically a lot of weeks that we discussed. And the last few weeks, we had some time to discuss acceptance and apathy. Some people say, life is good. And it's very tricky to know if life is good or it's just, let's not go there. Let it just continue the way it is, because it could be hard. Everybody their own story. The serenity prayer we mentioned last week, to be able to know the difference of things that you can change or you can't. So it goes like this: God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, things that I think many times when you're dealing with other people, then it's usually things you can change. And that's when you need some acceptance, which is not easy. So courage to change the things I can, the things that I'm in control, something that has to do with me only, and I can change it slowly. So I should have the courage to change, even though you might feel the feeling of fear, because change sometimes brings up that feeling. But I should have the courage, and then the wisdom to know the difference. That's the most important piece, to know, is it something I can change or not? I think acceptance has many levels, and I think we're still going to have to talk about it. But for tonight, we will open up for questions, anything that comes up, any ideas. Again, you can ask live or put it in the chats, and we will have a discussion, whatever comes up. Okay, so we will get started. Again, you can raise your hand. You can unmute to ask. And before I go to the answers, the questions that people sent in, most of the time it's very general. And it would take time for me to sit and let's talk about what's going on. And when it's general, usually the answers are, just finding out more and what comes up, what feelings, the environment you're in. And it's important, before we go to any answers, to understand, don't be so harsh on yourself. You're going through a struggle, whatever it is. And understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And sometimes why you're running away from that feeling. It's an avoidance, which is part of the fight and flight. Sometimes we're trying to avoid certain situations in life or certain ideas we don't want to think about because it's too painful. So those are really the questions, to know what's going on, what are you trying to run away from, what feeling comes up. And many times you need someone to talk to, someone who understands. Speak to someone that can help you, and they can walk with you, help you process what's going on. If it's something that needs a therapist, many people have seen a lot of help from going to therapy, and just speaking to somebody you feel close to usually helps. So those are for the general questions. But now we'll go on and let's see what we have. So the first question, is there a way, sorry, is there a way to stay in acceptance? I just want to stay in acceptance. And I think I understand that question. That most people would love to be in that place of acceptance. Everything is fine. Everything is good. We're enjoying life. But it's not, you have to realize, why do you always want to stay in acceptance? Because we don't like the ups and downs. So again, it could be avoidance again. And many people are coming from there. They believe that they just accepted whatever's going on, but you have to figure out, is it acceptance or it's apathy? So even to get to the level of acceptance, we discussed it, the grief process. Everybody would want to be in that place of acceptance. We all have challenges. We all have things in our life that we would love would be a little bit different, better. And if we can only be in that place of acceptance, it would be great. But it takes time to get there. And we can't skip. I mean, you can skip, but there are emotions that come up. It's the dabda we discussed: denial, anger, bargaining, and depression. And like we mentioned, acceptance is after depression. It's after letting those emotions come up, seeing that I don't like it. And you can sometimes feel like that a few days. You just don't like it. Something's pulling you down. And after that, you say, wait a second. Okay, if this is where I am, What can I do now? What could I do? Certain things I can change, certain things I could change. So you become aware of the things that you could change. And then you see, what could I do? That's when you get the acceptance. But it's important to see the question that you're asking is usually also because we don't like the process. We don't like the ups and downs, but that's life. There's only an up if there's a down. Constant pleasure doesn't stay, you don't, after a while, you don't like it anymore. We're humans, there's in and out, there's ups and downs. The ups are only because there are downs. So don't get lost, let it come up and ride the waves. Here's another question. Is it okay to be in a bad mood? So again, so it sounds like it's a very general question. Everybody in their situation, whatever is going on, if you can tell me more would be great. But in a way, it's great to be in a bad mood. What do I mean to say? That means you're aware, you're in touch. And because we have moods, sometimes better, sometimes worse, we sometimes are in a bad mood. Not, it doesn't always work out. It could be at work, at home. So you're in a bad mood. The question is, what do you do when you're in a bad mood? Are you in control? Are you aware? What do you look like? Do you communicate? You could say, I need my space. I need some time. Can I have off? Whatever it is. So, but just being in a bad mood, many people don't like it. And like we mentioned, we want to run away from it. We think to be happy means constantly, I want my life to be perfect and always be happy. But it's a process, and we have these waves, the ups and downs. And when you find yourself in a bad mood, say, oh, here I am. You can write down, you can journal, take some time, write down what's going through your mind, become aware of what's controlling those moods, and then you see how long it takes. Because for too long, it depends. If you're being productive, so hopefully you'll get out of it. But if you're staying in bed, you might need to speak to someone, see if they can help you process. Just a second. Doesn't matter if you lose acceptance because of your own thoughts or because someone in your authority says. So if I understand the question, to be in acceptance of what's going on in your life, many times what goes on, the beliefs that we have and the way we think is because of authority in our life. And it could be from very young age. And yes, it is important to see, why do I think this way? Why do I feel this way? Where's it coming from? And to see if it's something that I believe or I picked it up from somewhere. And now as adults, we can reevaluate, think if it's something I would love to think different. And this is also where we discuss the inner child. We have many parts to ourselves. But for now, we'll talk about two parts. The one that's the adult, and the other part is that inner child, which sometimes complains, is not happy, and they picked up whatever they picked up from the past, from wherever it is. It could be parents, teachers, the environment. And we're always dealing with that back and forth. I know what's right logically, but something in me, something else is pulling me down. I want to do something. I want to make that phone call. I want to ask for a raise. I want to go for a new job. But there's something inside of me that says, don't, because they want to keep you safe. And that's that inner child, which you have to get in touch with, understand, listen to it. What's it saying? And then eventually you can slowly come up with a way to talk to it and say, let's try it anyways. Let's see how it goes. And you'll be surprised. I'm here for you anyways. Another question, why is it so hard for me to slow down and stop for a few minutes a day? So this is a great question, and I do mention it many times. To start this journey is just to find some time where you can just relax, quiet, not to be on your phone. And exactly why it's hard for you, I don't know, because I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know where you are. But you have to first realize a big percent of the world has a hard time stopping. And especially with our phones, we want to keep busy. And what it does, it makes us feel good. It does give us that dopamine. Like when you watch the news, it just, first of all, you're in a state of escape, so you don't have to be in touch. I don't have to sit with myself. So first you want to escape, and then it's just interesting stuff going on. Your phone, maybe you have a message, somebody's calling, keeping you busy, and you get that rush, that good feeling. And once you have that, you want more. It could be almost like an addiction. We're addicted to our phones. We're addicted to our routine. We're addicted to our thoughts. You know, the way we think, the way we look at ourselves. This is the way I am, and I don't want to think about it. I don't want to slow it down. I don't want to maybe think to change it because it's hard. So again, I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know what's going on. But if it's something you need help with somebody, reach out. The idea is to be able to stop even a little bit, take a few deep breaths and relax. Anything that comes up, a thought, an emotion, you can write it down because that's exactly what we're running away from. Those thoughts, those emotions that come up. When an emotion comes up, we don't want to suppress them. We don't want to push it away and say, no, it doesn't bother me. If something bothers you, you're angry about something, just see it and feel it. Yes, you're angry, and it's okay to feel angry. You might have heard when you were young that you're not allowed to. But like we mentioned, in Mitzvah Hashem, when you'll be 70, 80, we'll get there. But as of now, it could be you haven't let that emotion come up for 20, 30 years, and there's something inside of you that's angry. The only way how you can let it go, the only way you can get to a place where things shouldn't get you angry, maybe, is if you let it come up. So don't suppress the emotions. Let it come up. And don't try to push them away, and don't try to I want to change my thoughts and I don't want to think, I want to think positive. Don't do that either. Because by doing that, you're going to make the problem bigger. When a thought comes up, all you have to do is look at it like a wave. Let it come in so that it can go out. Don't push it. If it's a big wave, it might take a little bit longer. And if it's a small wave, it's going to go. We mentioned the emotions don't last usually more than 90 seconds. If you can sit and just breathe through that emotion, you have a child that gets angry. You know, don't do anything. Just sit in that space and just breathe. Or you have a situation at work. Somebody said something, an email, a phone call. Notice how you feel, where in your body you feel it. Let it come up. Don't push it away. I know it's iffy. I know we don't want it. But just let that feeling be there. Breathe, continue breathing in and out, and slowly it goes away. I did have people that mentioned to me that it takes longer. And yes, sometimes we could be in a bad mood for a longer time, and that mood is also an emotion. So that's fine. But the idea is to let it in, experience it. Don't push it away. Don't say I'm fine. That's suppressing. And don't say, I'm going to try to change. I'm going to try to do this, try to do that. It's like fighting it. Because then all it does becomes bigger. Just look at it, be aware of it, continue breathing. Next question. Last week's discussion, we discussed the difference between acceptance and apathy. People could be walking around saying everything is fine, Baruch Hashem, my life is great. And we're trying to find out, is that because you gave up? There's so many things in your life that bother you, and maybe you've tried to change them. It could be you gave up already, it's too hard. So you know what? It's just fine. Or it's real acceptance. Yes, I'm aware that this thing I don't like. If it's something I can change, so I'll try to do that. If it's something I can change, this is what it is. This is how I feel. And again, like I mentioned, acceptance does have certain levels, and we love to get to the acceptance parts where everything is great, but it could take time to get to that place of acceptance. So the question is, what if something I could change? What if it's something I could change? However, I feel it's something that would take time. It's a process. So that's a great question. Something that, so it's good to be aware we want to change things now. You know, when we don't like something, how can I change it? And we would love constantly to be changing things. Let me change this, let me change that. But I want to change it now because I want to feel good. I don't like the way it feels. I don't like the process. So again, if it's something to do with other people, then it's a hard awareness to realize it's not something that I could change. You know, certain things that have to do with other people, and it could be I tried and it's not working. And for me to say this is it could be very hard. And if it's something that you could change, and it's a process, so we do need to become aware that it's a process and we don't like the process. We want it to change now because of those negative emotions that come up. So I want it to change now, but we have to realize we're just like a flower in a garden, and it's important to know this for chinuch, for our kids. It is a process, you know, to change the way we think, to change the way we feel. It could be, for example, something that you feel about yourself, self-acceptance. If for many years you've always been harsh and negative voices in your heads always making yourself feel bad, well, it's important to become aware of that, and that you could change. But you would love to change it now, overnight. But it's how many years did you have those thoughts? And now you want to do it in one night? It's not going to work. The awareness is number one. Slowly start with affirmations. Slowly start realizing, you know, what I'm good at. Start giving yourself some positive feedback. Just be there for yourself. It's going to take time. But meanwhile, it's a process. So I hope that answers that question. But it's always important to realize the acceptance part. We want to have the acceptance because we just want to take care of it already. We want to be in a good place. And acceptance sounds like we're good. But if it's a process, it takes time. You can unmute yourself if you want to ask live. Esther, if you would like to ask live, you can unmute. Let me know when you're ready. Or I can unmute you. You can. Could you unmute yourself? I'm not sure. I believe you could. Okay, we'll go on until you're ready. Let me know. Here's a question. When I was 16, taking care of my father, Oliver Shalom, with ALS.
Oh, yeah, I figured it out. Sorry.
Sure.
But do you want to go on and then I'll ask it afterwards?
Okay, so let me go this and you'll be next.
Sure.
When I was 16, taking care of my father, Oliver Shalom, with ALS, I was walking to school, stopped at a furniture window, looked into it, and said out loud to myself, "This is terrible. Think, don't feel." Now I have the disease 50 years later. I never sat down to mourn my situation. I launched into research what I can do for myself in the alternative medicine world besides prescriptions. Am I doing myself a disservice? So we can Esther, if you can unmute till we get to you in a
I
minute.
knew. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
I'll
I
mute you and
apologize.
soon we'll get back to you. Okay. So again, the awareness itself, just to see where you're coming from. It sounds like you're aware. You get the picture, what happened when you were young, how you felt when your father was sick, and what you told yourself. It's hard sometimes to go back to those days. Many people, when I ask them, if they can tell me a little bit of when they were younger, what life looked like, they don't have much to say. But to see those stories, those small stories, they look small, but they really shape us of how we feel and how we think. And you're aware of what happens, of how you felt and what you told yourself. And now, many, many years later, you feel like you're living off that. So you should be talking to somebody, because obviously I can't tell you if you're doing a disservice by not taking medication, by trying to avoid it. Some people fight it, and not always is that a good idea. And I'm not the one to tell you if it's a good idea or not. But to become aware of just awareness. You don't want to do regular medication, you want to do alternative, just to become aware of why. Who you talk to is very important. And you could do both, just to be able to accept, to start relaxing, to see where you are, the things that you could change, things that you can't. And slowly things could make a difference. And we've heard many stories out there. So it's just important to realize, yes, things can change. They could be, it could help, but it's always important to have somebody on your side, and should be a person that understands, and not someone who tells you just one way and that you can't talk to them something else. Okay, now we can unmute.
Hi.
Yes, sure.
Actually the question I was going to ask is, you had spoken about let the thought remain, like don't try to get rid of the thought, but that's what CBT is about. It's about changing your thought.
Right. The question is how fast?
Right.
How fast? Because you're right. People want to change it right away. And what CBT does, they make you aware of how it works. The cognitive part, how you think. The behavioral part is what you do about it. So
Right.
that's the cognitive behavioral. And to change the behavioral, you have to change the cognitive,
Right.
right? So I wish we could change cognitive just like this.
Right.
And this is a very important awareness to realize that wherever you're coming from, this is the way you think. And don't be so harsh on yourself. It's okay.
Right.
Now you can take a deep breath and relax, and then slowly say, wait a second, how about I think something different?
Mm-hmm.
And I think many people have it. It could be self-awareness and self-acceptance. Talk about the idea of accepting yourself for who you are, with all your everything around you, whatever is going on, the positives, the negatives, accepting yourself. Now, if for many years you didn't like it and you didn't accept yourself, and then this is how you behave, you walk around, you don't feel good about yourself, and it's hard for people to be around you. So this, you go to therapy and they try to show you that it's based on the way you think, on the cognitive parts, and this is how you
Right.
behave. And slowly they can help you say, wait a second, I can look at the positives. There are some positives. I can slowly take it in. I can slowly feel good about myself. And then your life slowly starts to change.
Right. Right.
Thank you very much for asking live. And we discussed this idea of we're trying not to change. Many people have tried to change many years. Now stop. No more change. And then
Mm-hmm.
slowly things will change.
So
You
you're
start,
saying not to.
I know, because till now we're trying so hard,
Right.
and we're trying to push, and we're so anxious, and we're
Right.
still pushing, and for many years, and it's not changing. So I would say, okay, that's it. That's it for now. Now take a deep breath. Just feel that you don't like where you are. You
Right.
would love to change it. Just keep on
Right.
breathing, relax every day for a few minutes. And the trick is that if you do that every day for a few minutes, accept yourself, just accept radical acceptance, whoever you are, things slowly will shift because you get on a relaxed state. Till now, you're operating from fight and flight. We have to change, I have to change, I have to change, I have to change, I have to change.
Right.
And day in, day out, I can't sleep. So take a break for a few days. Don't change nothing. Just relax and be okay with yourself the way you are.
Right.
Slowly you come down from that fight and flight and you come into that relaxed state. You can call it the alpha state that we discussed with some affirmations. You get the alpha state. And then things can happen. Things can move. Things can shift. But if your intention is to shift, then you're still in that fight and flight mode. So it's tricky.
Right. Well, there's a lot of demand today on changing, but allowing yourself to also be, and that the change happen, with peacefulness in a way.
You know why? You know why there's a lot of demand today?
Why?
Because people are not happy.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not happy. So yes, we all want to change. And I would ask you, wait a second, why do you want to change? Because I hate where I am. I hate my situation. I hate my life. I hate everything. Wait. Take a deep breath. What's going on? And I would slowly bring them back into this room, first of all, to just to feel that, yes, wait, don't run away. Because change can also be I want to run away from where I am. The same way people are on their phone all day, people want to change. And it sounds positive because isn't that good to change? But we have to figure out, where is it coming from? Is it you want to grow? That means you love yourself where you are, you love your life, you love everything that's going on, and you want to grow. Or I hate where I am. I hate myself. I hate my situation. I want to run away. So I say I want to change. Important question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is the
Interesting.
question for tonight. Think about it. We're going to stop, and maybe we'll continue next time with question and answers. You can always send them in to coachmenachem@gmail.com. Anything that came up for you while we have the discussion, for all of you that sent in a question, we didn't have time, please send them to coachmenachem@gmail.com. And Emitz Hashem, we will continue. But remember, take some time, make yourself a warm tea, if that's what you like. If you like a cold cup of oranges, then do that. Become aware of what you like. Take some time to relax, just to be. No changes as of now. Don't try to change. Look at yourself where you are. See what comes up. Why are you trying to run and run and run? Very important awareness, just to relax. Even if there are things you don't like, just keep on breathing and write down the things. And amidst Hashem, there will be some shifts. Thank you very much for all of you sending your questions. And
Thank
we'll see you
you.
amidst
Thank
Hashem
you.
Thank
next
you.
week. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.